So today we're giving our delightful Angelina a full autumn makeover, so grab a brew, take a seat and let's get started. So this is quite a detailed set. We're going to be covering ombre and French ombre and like a triple ombre, etc. So it'll be really good if you are trying to kind of nail those skills down. And if you are into nails and tutorials, that kind of thing, please do drop me a like and a follow, as I'm dropping new tutorials all the time and I'm trying to do more and more of these long form videos. So we've given Angelina, I promise I'll stop calling her that, just entertains me, and she does kind of give main character energy. So we've given her a clear base layer. Now I would do that on, I tend to treat her like I would treat a client, in the aspect that I will always do the same steps apart from the prep. So if it needs a clear base layer, I'll put one down because I just think it's really good practice, and it means that I can make sure that tips blended, etc. So it looks really, really good. I have to say the one thing about these hands is they are really, really nice to work with, if not just a touch awkward. The company I got mine from isn't operating anymore, so I'm not sure where to get them. So if anybody actually does know where I can get like a realistic hand kind of along this lines that's quite sturdy, please let me know. So I'm doing the I think it's a French, this one first. Yes, it's the French. So I go and do the smile line first. So I'm using I think this is the CJP big boy brush because I needed quite a large brush for this set because it's very long nails. So it's about a size 14. So I place down that first bead and I just try and bring it to as nice of a point as possible using my brush. I'm using the side of it to create the walls to put my file up against in a moment, and then I'm really getting that shape in as much as possible with my brush first. The core powder that I'm using is CJP, it's Pin Up, and it is absolutely gorgeous to work with. It doesn't need capping, but I tend to because I find it just gives it a little bit more depth. I'll talk about depth a lot in this video because I really like my nails to have a lot of dimension, which is why I do tend to do kind of a lot of encapsulation, that kind of thing. Even with the colours, it just, I don't know, it just hits a little bit different somehow. So I'll put the cuticle bead on next, and again I'm just wiping that off, making sure there's nothing down the sides that's kind of going to get in the way of my shape, and really refine that with my brush. I'm going to leave you here for now just to watch this. I will encapsulate this in a moment so you'll see how I do that, and then I'll be back in just a moment more when we get on to the next nail. So this particular nail is just a plain nude nail using this acrylic. I mean, when this acrylic's being used, nothing is ever plain. But yeah, highly recommend it. Honestly, if you haven't got this colour in your collection, just drop CJP a line, go and have a look on their website. It is professional only, but it's honestly, it's worth getting your qualifications for this colour alone. That's dramatic, but I do like it. I really do like it. So I am going to just paint that down the nail, just making sure that's all nice and flush at the side. I try and use my brush as much as possible so there's minimal filing at the end. With this particular set, I would normally do it in, maybe if it was on a client, it probably wouldn't be this long, but I'd probably do like a 3-bead method on a longer nail, but this took about a 4 bead, I think. And again, I did encapsulate, just make sure I've got that shape in. I always make sure as well that I blend back the back of this bead, so you'll see how that's flush there, and it just means that when I go in with the next bead of the nude core powder, I'm not climbing over a mountain to kind of brush it down the nail. Next we go in with the 3rd bead, again making that flush to the nail at the back, and I'm just blending that down. Also, you'll notice I'm allowing it to sit for a few seconds before I touch it too much, and I try and only really touch it with the kind of the tip of my brush. It prevents as many bubbles getting into it. It means I don't wipe it away, so I keep some of that structure in place, and it just means all in all that it's got a better shape in the long run when I'm filing. Then last but certainly not least, we have our cuticle bead. Now this will help us with our apex too. So first off, tuck it in at the side and then tuck it right into that cuticle. Then I will blend it down over the nail. So I am trying not to wipe away any of that apex, but also I want it to come out of the cuticle. So rather than it kind of having a ledge on it, almost being like at a 90-degree angle, I want it to look like it's almost growing directly out of the cuticle. In a moment, you'll see when I turn it to one side, you'll kind of see what I mean. And again, when I'm encapsulating in the clear, I'm doing it, I think it was about a 3 or 4 bead method again. I was being quite careful because I wanted to make sure my shape was good, because it's such a long set of nails. I didn't want a lot of filing to do. So I've left this in a little bit now. Can you see that divot just in the nail and that middle nail there? So obviously, because I look at it at different angles, I can see that. So I just go in with another layer of the clear acrylic and I literally wipe it up and down the nail. The reason that we do that is if I just left that and we didn't do it, I'd have to make it all even, I'd have to file away a ton of acrylic and actually I'd lose a load of my structure. So always check from all angles. It's so important, especially when you're working on a very long nail, because it's easy to lose the shape if you're not careful. So this next nail is another glitter ombre, I think. So I start off by just laying a very thin layer of the colour that I was using. It was a CJP, this one, and it was like a really dark purpley colour with almost like a gold shimmer to it. It is stunning. If I think on, I will try and put the details in the comments. Or if you want to know, and I haven't put it in the comments or the description rather, let me know and I'll go and route it out for you. But basically what you want to do is you want to pop that on there and then just blend it down. Now, this is why we have the clear base layer. So although I'm using a nude, I think over that in a moment, I need to make sure that that's not going to stain that nail plate. So I'm working quite wet with the colour and I'm literally just painting it down the nail, super gentle. We want it to be thin, we don't want a bulky nail. The nails, the tips have got a good C-curve, so it doesn't need to be thick. We just need a good apex for structure. So you'll see there I'm wiping that back up the nail again. That's just a little bit more colour at the tip, just to make sure my colour's good. And then I will go in with my nude in a moment. I think actually here I put a tiny bead on the joint area. Yes, I put a tiny bead on the joint area, and I've got some monomer on my brush and just really softly blended it out, and it just means that blend underneath the acrylic is so much easier. Then I went in on the little finger with some glitter. I've put down a layer of, another tiny little bead of acrylic, and then picked up a tiny little bit of the glitter. I think I used a fine glitter and then glitter shards over the top of that. So I'll do like a fine little wash almost of the glitter, and then I go in with my glitter shards. I don't use any more acrylic to pick that up. Normally just the monomer in my brush is enough to do that. Then I go in again, this is a triple ombre. So I am again just wiping that down, just so I've got a bit of coverage underneath, and I'll go in with another bead or two just to make sure that coverage is nice. Again, we're just painting it on, it doesn't need to be thick. We'll put our structure in when we encapsulate in a moment. I'm doing this a touch out of sequence. I'll tell you for why. Normally I would do all of the set and then I'd come back and do the French. The reason that I do that is because I don't like the bits getting into the nail. As I don't have anything on the thumb, I'm not too worried, and it's on the pointer finger. And I could obviously clean it up. If it was on a client, I'd probably have finished all those nails at least to the point of encapsulation before I actually did that. Now also, if you can hear any kind of noises outside, I do apologise. It's a nice sunny day outside, and people are enjoying it, and I don't blame them. So yes, I need to go round that French with a smile line, round the French with a file rather, and just really crisp that off. When I go in a moment with my that purpley colour, I want to be able to butt it right up against there and get a really crisp French. So here I am painting on the purple colour. I'm going round the smile line just to make sure that's really tucked well in there so we don't have any air bubbles or gaps or anything like that. And I am making sure, just using the tip of my brush, that it's really, really, really solid. So once I've done that, I will go in with some more of the colour and just make sure it's fully covered. Don't worry with this one if you go over the top of the French. It does not matter, you will be filing it away at the end anyway. And often I find if you do go over the edge and over the top of the bead with the colour, you'll find that you end up with a much crisper French. There's a few reasons that I work quite thin with my acrylic and I tend to use it more like a paint. Is for a lot of times with acrylic you will get smaller pots, and because of the pigment, etc., I think they tend to be a bit more expensive, so I tend to use my clear. Also, I find that the structure that you get with clear acrylic is so much better. So I'm making sure to take that acrylic right at the corners. Again, it's another reason why it's really important to look all the way around that nail, look over the top of it, down the side of it, etc. And then I'm just blending it probably about halfway down the tip, as in halfway between the smile line and the free edge. So because I'm going to put in some more gold. I told you there was going to be a lot of ombre in this set. So again, going in with the finer gold underneath, and then I go in with some shards over the top. Here I'm using the tip of my brush with just a little bit of monomer in it to really blend that out. So it's a nice kind of, rather than it just being suddenly glitter, it's a nice soft blend. Also, if you are feeling a little bit bored, you could also do a shot game, where every time I say the word ombre or blend, you take a shot. I guarantee you'll be hammered by the end of this video if you do that. So for our next nail, I'm going to give you 3 guesses. Yeah, you got it on the first one, it's an ombre. So we're going to put in the bead over that kind of towards the cuticle area. So I'm tucking it into the cuticle first, and then I'm blending it down the nail. So you'll see here as well, I hadn't got it quite up into that cuticle as much as I wanted. And because the acrylic is still a touch on the mouldable side, I was able to move it. Now, with a client, you might not get this movement time because when you're working on a fake hand, you don't have the body heat to set your acrylic that bit faster. And in fact, I do go in a moment with another bead and I just blend that down the nail just to make sure that's nice and kind of crisp and neat around the cuticle. So then you're going to blend that over, and also by doing this, I'm making sure that that blend area, take a shot, is fully covered. So then just to make sure that that blend goes a little bit further towards the free edge, I'm literally just placing a tiny little bead on the nail and I'm blending it up towards the free edge. As I said before, on the little finger, it's a triple ombre, so we'll do that next. So over the middle section where there's no acrylic yet, we're just putting a little bead, and I'm going to blend that towards the tip and then back up towards the cuticle. What I'm trying to do as well is just to pat out the acrylic and make it thinner and a little bit more transparent towards the cuticle. So I think when I went in that with that other bead, I made it just a little bit wetter so it was a little bit more see-through. That way then it kind of blends from the gold to the nude to the brown or the purple colour rather, quite seamlessly. Then I will cap this all in clear. So you'll see in a moment I go in with a bead of clear at the cuticle, and then I think I cap the whole nail in clear, but we'll see that in a moment. It's a while since I've done this set, so I'm a little bit out of touch with exactly what I did. So this is the first bead. We go over the cuticle, tuck it in, blend it down so it's nice and covered, and then faff about with our brush again just for a bit more. And then once we've finished faffing in a moment, well, some may say faffing. I say perfecting because it means I need to file less. Like I said, this hand is a nightmare to file. It's not uncommon for me to actually take the nails out of the hand to file it. But yeah, so basically you want to blend this right up towards the cuticle and then blend it towards the tip. So again, I'll probably work in as many beads as I need to. Normally, obviously, you would work kind of first third, second third, and then cuticle third, as it were. So the first third being the third towards the free edge. When you're doing any kind of beads, if you're doing a 3-bead method, so the first bead more towards the free edge, the second bead in the middle, and then the third bead at the cuticle. When you're doing a nail like this, that's not always as practical, just simply for the fact that you've put different product in different places already to get the desired effect. So you just need to make sure you're constantly checking that and looking back and forth, just to make sure that your structure's in place. It's very easy to see. Just turn the nail to the side, look down the side of the nail, look down the barrel of the nail particularly. I think that's one a lot of people forget. And just make sure that all of your structure's in. Now, when I've looked to find the footage of finishing off that French nail, unfortunately, it looks like it's been lost or damaged. But it's basically you need to encapsulate it exactly like this. And then when you're doing your normal filing routine, you will basically get your shape in. Again, it's really hard to show filing on these nails because of the length of them and because they're in a fake hand. So it's really hard to show the filing routine. So I do have my filing routine in some of my other videos, and I can do one specifically on filing if you want that. The best advice I can give you with filing is do the same on every single nail. Once if you do that, then everything should match and it should look great. So yeah, encapsulating even that ombre again, we don't want to mess up, we don't want to file away that blend or anything like that. We want to make sure it's really nice and covered and all of that glitter's protected. So we're coming towards the end of the video now, so you'll see the final look in a moment. I just want to say thank you again, as always, for watching my videos. And if you do know anybody that would enjoy this, please do make sure you like and share. And also, if you go through some of my other videos, that would be marvellous too. I'm sure you'll find something that's helpful. And if there's any particular subjects, I'll put my teeth back in, subjects that you want me to cover, let me know, because I love to hear your feedback. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.